Hey everybody, it's Emily at Arg Schooling, and it's time to choose my January TBR. It's almost January, so I'm going to go ahead and decide what my TBR will consist of. I have been using this since last year. Basically, this is a jar filled with prompts geared toward picking things off my shelves. I have a lot going on in here. I just put back the ones I had picked out from 2023, so they're back in here. That's potential to pull one again, but I'm gonna go ahead and decide what I'll be reading in January. So I'm gonna pick two, and that gives me options. So I picked up this one, and now pick one from towards the top. Okay, so let's see what my choices are. So the first one I pulled out, is Philippa Gregory. I have a lot of Philippa Gregory on my shelves. I've read quite a few of her books. I think I've read everything just about in her Tudor series, except for one. And she has a lot of books that I own, so maybe I'll do that. It's been a while since I read anything by her. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to go with that because my second one is one I pulled this last year. And actually, I think this was one of my last ones I pulled out from November when it was one. I really liked one of this author's books. So I'm not going to do that one again. You know what? I'm going to go with Philippa Gregory. I'm going to read Philippa Gregory. So I'm going to choose, I'm not going to go crazy. I have a lot of reading things going on already in January. But we're going to add some Philippa Gregory in. So let's go collect my TBR. A TBR has been collected. Is this a complete TBR? No. I have other things that I'm going to be reading for various projects and things. But let's talk about what we're going to be reading for book club. So in January, we're going to be reading The Witch and the Tsar. This is by Olesya Saldikova-Gilmore. This is a Baba Yaga retelling. This is a historical fantasy set in Russia. We're going to Moscow with Yaga, who is a half goddess, and she is going to help her friend. This is like 16th century Russia. She's on a mission to go help her friend who is married to Ivan, who is soon to become Ivan the Terrible. And I am so excited about this book. This is historical fantasy, which is one of my favorite kinds of fantasy to read. The fact that this is set in Russia, that it's a Baba Yaga retelling, I just think this is going to be so much fun to read. So if you want to participate in book club, all you got to do is read the book in January, and Tanya and I will host a live show on February, I want to say 4th. I'd have to look at the calendar, but I'll put the date up here, where we will be talking about the book in a live show discussion. You can participate and ask questions and add your commentary and thoughts about the book. There is also a Discord I host where you can come and chat about the book in real time as you read. If you want the link to that, just let me know in the comments and I will send that to you. So I hope you guys will participate in book club. I am super excited to be getting back into it. I always miss book club in November and December, so I'm really excited to get back into reading with all of you. So I have a few things I'm going to be reading for various projects. Like last month, I pulled 2 books out of my Lit Bite Potential jar, and I didn't get to this one, so I'm going to be reading The Bitter Side of Sweet by Tara Sullivan, and we'll see if I like it enough to turn it into a Lit Bite. Not every book in my Lit Bite Potentials jar will become a Lit Bite, like that's why they're potentials. So I have no idea if I'm going to like this enough to turn it into a Lit Bite, but there's always the chance. So this is a story about teenagers who are working on a chocolate plantation, and they're basically enslaved, and I think this is about how they escape. This is actually in modern day, I believe. This is not set in a historical time period. So sometimes the hardest part is not letting them break your spirit. I just think this has a lot of potential to be an awesome read and one that I could definitely turn into a lit bite. So let's hope for that. Another project I'm working on, which I can't share about yet, but it's something that has been requested a lot, and it's something that I've been like thinking on for quite a bit, but I'm reading this book. I actually started this in December and had to set it down because I just had too much other stuff going on. But I really enjoy what I've read so far, and that is The Girl with the Lauding Voice by Abi Dare. This is a story set in Nigeria, and we're following a girl who has been forced into marriage. All she wants is to be able to grow up and get an education and have a chance to like live the life that she wants, but her father won't allow for that. And so she's pushed into getting married and cutting her education short. She's only like 14 when she gets married. And it's very tragic so far. Like, it's very sad, but I feel like this is starting something and it's gearing up towards hopefulness. So like, I think this could end up being a potential favorite of the year, like based on what I've read so far. So I'm excited to get back into it. I only made it like a little over 100 pages in before I had to stop and set it down and do other things, but I'm excited to come back to this. My daughter and I are continuing on our quest to read Lord of the Rings. We finished Fellowship of the Ring in December, so we are moving on now to The Two Towers. We actually started this the last week of December, and because I wanted to get a little head start, so we're like a chapter in, but we were reading The Two Towers in January, and I'm just excited to continue. I wanted to read the book and watch the film, but Regina's making me wait because she's mean. so we can't watch the movies until we finish all 3 books. And then this has just been staring at me for so long, and I even talked about it in a video that I really wish I'd read this already. And so I'm going to be reading Lone Women by Victor Laval in January. Like, I really want to read this. I hope that I love it because I have been like mad at myself for not picking this up several times. So this is happening in January. I've been told that I'm gonna love this. This is a horror story set in the American West in, I think, like the 1850s-ish. Oh no, set in 1915. And we're following a character who is, I think, being followed. She's trying to get away from something. I'm not sure. I haven't really read too much into the synopsis, but I know it's horror. I know this is an author that I really need to read, and this is a book that has just been screaming at me, so I'm reading this in January. It's Emily from the future. I forgot some things. I totally forgot that I'm doing a read-along this month. A few of my friends are doing a read-along on Storygraph for Mort by Terry Pratchett. This will be a reread for me, but I'm really excited about it. This is one of my favorite Discworld books, and this one, I think this is the first Death book, and we're following Death as he would like a vacation. So he hands over the reins to his assistant Mort, who now has to take over the role of Death. It is a really fun time. It is hilarious. I'm excited to do this as a reread. I also forgot that I had it's not an official goal. I didn't really set a goal to do this, but it's something that I would like to do, where I want to read a Wayward children's book each month until I've caught myself up. So this month I'll be reading Across the Green Grass Fields. I don't even know what number I'm on, honestly. How many are there? Hold on, I might be able to figure this out. I think this is the 6th book. I don't even know what this is about. I want to say I've heard people mention that this is like a horse girl book. I do think this is a pretty cover, so I'm excited for that. And I feel like this is going to be kind of a like nature-y kind of a story. So I think this is one of the ones where we're following someone going through a portal. So anyway, I'm excited to continue this finally because I am way behind. I think I'm like 4 books behind at this point. And I also forgot that I'm doing the Buzzword reading challenge this year, and I didn't pick a book. So I went ahead. The theme for January is reading a book with either there, or there in the title. I went through my collection and realized that I could read this book. This is No Crying in Baseball, the inside story of A League of Their Own. So I'll be reading this month. This is nonfiction about the making of the movie A League of Their Own. It's one of my favorite movies, so I'm very excited to read this. and kind of relive the feelings I had watching it growing up. And then, of course, I'm going to rewatch the movie, because how could I not? So I'll be reading this in January too. Back to the regular content. As for Philippa Gregory, I have chosen 4 things. Will I read all 4? No. But I'm hoping to read at least 1 or 2 of them. Maybe 2 is my goal. I've read a lot of Philippa Gregory over the years. I claim her as a favorite author, but I haven't really read anything for several years. I'm trying to remember the last time I read a Philippa Gregory, and I cannot. I have read, I think, almost everything in her Tudor series. I've read almost everything in the Cousins War series. But she has several things. And so I'm like, what do I pick up? So I basically walked around and looked for ones that I'm like, yeah, that's one that's been calling to me. I have Tidelands. This is set in set in 1648. But this is not to do with royals. I think we're following a woman who is like a descendant of a wise woman. This, I believe, is a duology. Or is it a trilogy? I'm not sure. I know I have the first 2. And I really don't know a whole lot about it. I've not really heard too many things about it either, so I have no idea what I'm getting myself into with that. I have The Last Tutor. This one is, I think it starts with Jane Grey. I think this follows the Grey family, though. So I've been really wanting to pick this up because Jane Grey is one of my favorite historical tutors. Like, I find her story tragic and fascinating, and I'll be honest, the reason I am so fascinated with Jane Grey is entirely because I saw the movie Lady Jane when I was like 15 and became utterly obsessed. And that movie is entirely inaccurate, but I loved it. If you've never seen it, go look it up. It's old. It's a very young Helena Bonham Carter and Carrie Elwes, and so romantic, but not at all the way things actually happened. But that movie, I swear, is what kicked off my obsession with the Tudors. So, and it's lived on to this day. But this book, I think, is focused on Jane and her family. Then I have 2 books that are set in completely different time periods. I have the first book in her Wideacre trilogy. I think it's a trilogy. And this one, I have no idea what it's about. I think I own the whole trilogy, though, but this is the first one, and I think this is set in the 1700s. I really don't know anything about it, though. I've never looked into what this is. I just collect the books. And then I have Fallen Skies, which is, I think, is a standalone, and this is set during World War I. Which is a unique setting. I don't read a lot of things that are set during World War I, so when I find books in that time period, I get excited. So this one, I think we're just following some characters. Oh, this is post-World War I England. And it's a suspenseful story about the marriage of a wealthy war hero and an aspiring singer he barely knows. So I'm assuming this is a romance. Most of her books tend to be like somewhat of a romance, but not really a romance. Okay, and my last book that I'm going to choose is one of my 12 recommendations from 12 friends. I collected 12 recommendations. I've done a video about it if you want to go check that out. But I put all the titles in a little jar, and this way I can make myself read one a month instead of like I did a couple of years ago where I just like made a list and I was like, I'll read these, and then I read like 2 of them. So this way I'm hoping to actually read the things. Ooh. So this month, I'm going to be reading A Curious Beginning. Okay, I'm excited because this is one of the ones that I was the most intrigued by. I know this is a mystery, which is not generally my thing, but this is like a Victorian mystery with a woman in science kind of a thing. So like this already has 2 things going for it that I feel I'm going to enjoy. So I'll be reading A Curious Beginning by Deanna Raybourn in January. So here we are, my TBR and all the things that I hope to read in the month of January. I might still also, I don't know, I keep saying I might do it, but I don't know if I'm going to have time to do it. But there's a chance that since I didn't get to be a civils judge this year, I wanted to be a Sybil's Judge so bad, but I knew I had too much going on this fall to make it happen. So I had to decline. I'm hoping to do it again in 2024, but I do hope that I have time to do my video where I just read the finalists and decide which one I think should be the winner. Has absolutely nothing to do with Sybil's. I have no sway over anything, but I think it'll be a fun time. I don't even know what category I'm gonna do. I'm waiting for the finalists to be announced, and then I'll just kind of pick the category that sounds the most exciting to me. Probably it'll be middle grade though. I don't know. We'll see if I even have time for that. But potentially you have that to look forward to. So thanks so much for watching. Let me know down below in the comments if you've read any of these books and which one you're excited to see me read. And let me know too, like, what you're excited to pick up in January. Like, I know it's the beginning of the year. We're all super hopeful about our reading. So I just want all the 5-star reads. Is that so much to ask? Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Happy reading. Bye.